Hello students and welcome to BA 131, Module 6. We are looking at Education and Government. This is the video lecture. The homework is up here first, and I'll show you why when we get to the module. We have board docs, examples of Spanish interpreting for board meetings. This is for you to review. There's nothing to submit. I'll show you that when we come back to the module. I want you to watch this video of consecutive interpretation. There's the discussion and the quiz. Number 1 is here, and the summary of Module 6. Let's go to the PowerPoint. Today we're going to be focusing on translation in the educational field, translating for higher education, particularly the types of documents and language used in schools and higher education. Many interpreters and translators work in educational environments, such as school districts, colleges, and universities, interpreting at parent meetings, special education meetings, government or institutional communications, etc. And because of this, translators must understand both the language and the educational context. One key concept that we will explore today is something called reading apprenticeship, which is a method that helps readers understand complex texts more efficiently. This is especially important for translators because translation begins with comprehension. If you don't understand something, you can hardly translate it or interpret it. And by the end of this module, you should be able to recognize common translation mistakes in government and or institutional communication, understand the concept of reading apprenticeship, a strategy that is used to improve reading comprehension, review educational terminology that translators often encounter, apply active reading strategies before translating a document, and remember that a translator's first responsibility is understanding the text completely before attempting to translate it. And just a little reminder on the due dates at the end of this presentation. Now here is a governmental translation blooper. This is a classic. We've been using this for a while. I'm not sure when exactly this happened. It's been a few years. But the London Metropolitan Police got together with an organization called Crime Stoppers because there was a huge influx of pickpocketing. So they have this sign that was posted in English and the alleged, let's give them the benefit of the doubt, the alleged translation. Pickpockets beware. Los pickpockets se guardan. That has nothing to do with that. Undercover police working in this area. Policía de la cubierta interior que trabaja en el área. Totally missed the mark. In July, 3 pickpockets received sentences of over 4 years. En julio, 3 los pickpockets recibieron oraciones de la prisión sobre de 4 años. Of course, this is terrible, but the main thing, the most glaring instance of mistranslation is sentences, as in legal punishment, not sentences as in words forming a sentence that forms paragraphs, etc. And in this example, in 1995, there was a press release regarding Cinco de Mayo, when it said, El hablador de la casa, Newt Gingrich, when translating the Speaker of the House. Obviously, hablador is chatterbox or talkative, not the speaker. Or la bocina, you would not say la bocina de la casa, right? So Speaker of the House was translated as El hablador de la casa, Newt Gingrich, a terrible literal translation. So clearly that is not the meaning of Speaker of the House, which refers to a political leadership position in the United States Congress. The correct translation would be something along the lines of El presidente de la Cámara de Representantes. Another understandable term would be la Cámara de Diputados, that is used at least in Mexico. I'm not sure about other Spanish-speaking countries, but la Cámara de Representantes is much better than el hablador de la casa. As we've mentioned before, and I'll repeat again, we do not translate words, we translate meaning. Not understanding the institutional context, translators can make serious errors and glaring errors like this. Before we talk about translation, we need to talk about how we read. Many people assume that reading is simple, but in reality, good reading is a complex mental process. Different people approach reading in different ways. Some people take notes. Some people highlight important sections. Some people ask questions. Some read silently, others read aloud. In this class, we want to become intentional readers. That means becoming aware of how we process information. And this awareness helps us become better translators. So, how do you learn better? Do you need music to read or complete silence? Do you write notes on the margins while you read? Do you ask the professor questions about the text? Do you ask classmates questions? Do you read aloud and think aloud? Do you share your ideas with others? Take a moment to think about your own reading habits. There is no single correct way to read, but strong readers usually do one important thing. They actively interact with the text instead of just looking at the words. So that interaction helps build deeper understanding. Now, today, many of us read on different devices besides books. Instead of reading only printed books, we now read on computers, tablets, phones. This can make reading more convenient, but it also can create distractions. You may get notifications, messages, and other apps that interrupt your concentration. As translators, we must develop the ability to focus deeply on a text, even in a digital environment. Understanding a document fully requires attention and concentration. Many students in this class balance multiple responsibilities. You might be managing work or family, making dinner, children, homework. Adult learners often face more responsibilities than traditional college students, and because of this, developing efficient reading strategies becomes even more important. The goal is not just to read quickly, but to read effectively. Effective reading helps you understand the text the first time, which makes translation easier and more accurate. Now let's introduce this important concept called reading apprenticeship, which often is abbreviated RA. This concept focuses on making the thinking process visible. When skilled readers approach a text, they often ask themselves questions like, what does this mean? Why did the author write this? How does this connect to what I already know? This process is called metacognition. Metacognition simply means thinking about your own thinking. When students discuss their thought process while reading, they develop deeper comprehension. This shared discussion is a key element of the reading apprenticeship approach. Reading apprenticeship helps students develop several important skills. First, it helps them notice their own thinking. Second, it helps them focus on reading more carefully. Third, it helps them take responsibility for understanding a text. And finally, it helps them recognize the language used in specific subjects, such as education, law, or medicine. In translation, we often call this reading comprehension. Before translating something, we must fully understand the meaning of the original text. Because again, we do not translate words, we translate meaning. It is essential that we understand, we capture the meaning of the intended message in order to render that into the target language. You have previously translated documents related to DACA and IEP documents. These assignments were designed to introduce you to the types of terminology and institutional language that is commonly found in educational and government-related texts. Now we are shifting from simply completing the assignment to reflecting on the translation process. One important skill for translators is the ability to review their own work critically. This means asking questions such as, did I fully understand the meaning of the original text before translating it? Did I maintain consistency in terminology? Did my translation sound natural and appropriate for the intended audience? And to help you with this process, I provided a correction key for those assignments. The purpose of the correction key is not simply to show you the right answers. I told you that in the assignment. There's no one right answer, one right way to do a translation, but to help you compare your translation choices with professional translation practices. And by analyzing the differences between your translation and the key, you can begin to see how meaning, context, and terminology affect translation decisions. This reflection process is an important step toward developing professional translation skills. Another important aspect of those previous assignments was the use of register, meaning the level of formality in the language. In educational settings, written communication with parents or families typically uses the formal Spanish usted. For this reason, in the DACA and the IEP translations, you were instructed to use the formal form of address usted, unless the context clearly suggests otherwise. For example, if a document is written directly to a child or to children, you might use tú. But when addressing parents, guardians, families, institutions, you usually maintain formal language. And maintaining this consistency is an important professional skill for translators. And a common mistake in translation is switching unintentionally between formal and informal form of address within the same document. That can make the translation sound unprofessional or even confusing. This is why proofreading is a critical step in the translation process. When proofreading, you should check for consistent terminology, correct grammar and punctuation, consistent register, formal versus informal, clarity and natural flow of the language. Professional translators rarely submit their first draft. They usually review and refine their work before finalizing a translation. Now, here is a maxim of Albert Einstein: if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. And this, for our purposes, emphasizes an important idea. To become a great interpreter, you must first become a great reader. A professional interpreter does not just convert words. Instead, they read carefully, understand the meaning deeply, identify the intention of the message, then express that meaning accurately in the other language, in the target language. The stronger your reading comprehension, the stronger your interpreting and translation skills will be. Now, here are several strategies that help improve reading comprehension. Before you begin reading, look at the title, the images, and graphics, if there are any. Ask yourself, what do I already know about this topic? Next, try to make predictions about what the text will discuss. While reading, connect the text to your own experiences or background knowledge. Also, try to identify the purpose of the text. Ask yourself, is this informative? Is it instructional? Is it persuasive? And finally, evaluate your understanding. Ask yourself, what words do I not understand? What do I need clarification on? And this self-evaluation helps improve comprehension. In the discussion back in the module, you are going to practice thinking aloud about the text. This means sharing your ideas and interpretations. When classmates share their thoughts, your role is not to criticize but to help clarify ideas. Different people understand texts in different ways, and by discussing your reasoning, you strengthen your reading comprehension and analytical thinking. And just a reminder on the due dates. The due dates are always in that assignment on that page, and it's usually Sunday of the week it is assigned by 11:59 p.m., except for the first post in the discussions, which is due by Friday by 11:59 p.m. So always check the assignment for the due date. Plan ahead so that you are not rushed and you have time to proofread, especially your translations, and you're not rushed from one assignment to the other. And you can avoid last minute stress. Let's go back to the module. Here's the introduction. These are the things you need to do to complete this module. Here is the PowerPoint. And within the PowerPoint, these are the things that we covered. The reading apprenticeship in action. This is the assignment. We'll cover that in a moment. The video lecture will be here. The same PowerPoint for the video lecture is here. For your homework, interpreting at a board meeting, you can read the introduction, the instructions, and here you're going to interpret simultaneously for 20 minutes only. This video is about an hour and a half, an hour and 25 minutes, but you're going to interpret just 20 minutes. Set a timer. If you have headsets, put them on so you can practice that mode as well. Here's the link to the recording. You can pick any 20-minute segment, and in your assignment, here are the things you're going to do. Which 20 minutes did you select to interpret? Indicate that with the timestamps of the video. What section did you interpret? Was it public comments, resolutions, what item, etc.? And how did you prepare? Did you review the agenda? Did you watch it first? And if you need more information on the Garden Grove Unified School District board meeting, you can click this link. And in the next page, there's another example for you to review of how some districts organize their meetings via board docs, and you can use that to prepare for the meeting. Let's go there now. This is board docs. This is where school districts upload their board documents. Because these are public documents, they're publicly accessible. They just make it easier. And this is, for example, the link for the Pomona Unified School District. Santa Ana has board docs as well. Most, if not all, districts upload their board documents to board docs. If you have an assignment as a professional at a board meeting in a district you don't know, you can use this resource to review that. These are examples of Spanish interpreting at school board meetings. These are only for you to review. There's no submission, but go ahead and look at the instructions and watch these short videos so you get a feel for interpretation at board meetings. And here, during COVID, you'll see that because of the environment in the video, I had the opportunity to have 3 different modes, if you will, of consecutive interpretation at a single school board meeting. Again, there's no submission for this assignment, just review the video. And notice that even though they are all consecutive interpretation, there are 3 different approaches to it that just happen to be at the same meeting. One is the person gave me a copy of the notes ahead of time. So essentially, it's almost a sight translation. You'll notice why almost in the video. Another person had their speech written, they read it, and they handed it to me so that I could again perform a quasi-sight translation. Notice what happens in the video. And the third possibility is a person just starts speaking, no notes, they know what they want to say. So this is extemporaneous speech, so I just have to take notes, and you'll see that in the video as well. And I made some notes in the videos for you as well. For the discussion, this is where you're going to practice the reading apprenticeship. This is from the New York Times, but sometimes the New York Times puts these behind paywalls, or you have to subscribe. You don't have to do that because I copied the article right here. You can open it or download it right there as a PDF. And here are the instructions for the discussion. and the due date is Sunday. You have the quiz, that you have the study guide from last module, and here's the summary of what you will have learned. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a wonderful week.